From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 30th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.30 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $418. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. consulate in Adana, the Incirlik Air Base, and 2 other locations in southern Turkey are all facing orders from the state and defense departments for the families of the diplomats and military staff to leave the region. Officials are denying any specific threat, but say the decision is based on worsening security concerns in Turkey, which is facing a growing number of suicide bombings and other attacks in recent weeks. Families elsewhere in Turkey, including the capital of Ankara and Istanbul, are not affected by the new orders. The State Department said they'd been considering the move for several weeks and that the timing has nothing to do with Turkish officials visiting Washington, D.C. this week, or indeed time to anything else. The State Department also issued a statement warning U.S. citizens against travel to southeastern Turkey in general, citing increased threats of terrorism throughout Turkey. Southeastern Turkey is where the Turkish military is fighting Kurdish secessionists. For nearly 40 years, Robertson Robertson Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Robertson today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports just days after the United States and Cuba celebrated a landmark visit by President Barack Obama to the island nation, former leader Fidel Castro on Monday revealed deep-seated feelings about the American leader and the reestablishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Castro made his feelings known by authoring an article that appeared Monday in Cuba's official state newspaper, El Granma. Castro's letter was written Sunday night. The article, which remained at the top of El Granma's front page on Monday, carried the headline, Brother Obama. Castro spent the first several paragraphs of the article addressing Cuban history, his admiration for revolutionary leaders, and his concerns for the nation's younger generation. The second half of the article critiques Obama's presidential efforts, remarks, and what he believes to be the commander-in-chief's intentions. Particularly, the former communist leader slammed Obama for what he believes to be an overly negative and inaccurate view of the 1959 Cuban Revolution, of which Castro was a primary leader. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports public sector unions triumphed before the United States Supreme Court on Tuesday when the justices preserved a vital source of cash for organized labor, splitting 4-4 on a conservative challenge that had seemed destined for success until Judge Antonin Scalia's death last month. The case, brought by non-union public school teachers in California, had targeted fees that many states force such workers to pay unions in lieu of dues that fund collective bargaining and other activities. A loss in this case would have deprived unions representing teachers, police, transit workers, firefighters, and other government employees of millions of dollars annually and diminish their political clout. The outcome illustrated the impact on the court of the February 13th death of Scalia, the long-serving conservative justice who almost certainly would have cast a decisive vote against the unions. But by virtue of splitting 4-4, the justices affirmed a 2014 lower court ruling that allowed California to compel non-union workers to pay the fees. Ian Murray, vice president for strategy at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, said the death of Justice Scalia has proved a disaster for public sector workers who have their paychecks raided by unions. The court, evenly divided with 4 liberals and 4 conservatives, left intact a 1977 legal precedent that allowed such fees, which conservatives have long abhorred. The case reached the High Court after a Washington-based conservative group, the Center for Individual Rights, sued on behalf of lead plaintiff Rebecca Frederick, an elementary school teacher in Anaheim, California, and 9 other teachers. They argued the fees infringed upon the free speech rights of non-union workers under the U.S. Constitution. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.